yesterday there was a phone conversation, the first one, between the American Secretary of State Antony Blinken with the new Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen. I would say it was mostly a welcoming conversation and a general conversation. I mean, they didn't went into details. Yet, when it comes to the Iranian issue, so there definitely you have a significant development, because Blinken actually is telling Eli Cohen, we understand that the JCPOA, the nuclear deal with Iran, is dead, and it's not relevant to come back to it. I'm not quoting, I'm saying what the message was. Now, that's definitely a development in a way, because the administration was trying for 2 years to come back to the agreement. We heard, I believe, 2 weeks ago, the President Biden, in a video that someone catched him saying that the deal is dead, but I can't say it. That's what Biden said. Now it becomes, at least it looks as if it becomes a new policy, because Blinken is telling Cohen, and not only we understand the deal is dead, we now going to move to a new a policy, and thus, as you said, is with the EU countries, with the European Union and European countries, to put more pressures on Iran. Now, I don't know what does this exactly mean, which kind of pressure, what are the exact steps, but it definitely tells us there is a new policy here by the administration.
The two of them also discussing the Abraham Accords, saying that there's potential for another state that doesn't currently have diplomatic relations with them, and they agreed for a new Negev summit in Morocco, perhaps in March, saying that it was unlikely Saudi Arabia would be part of that. What is this new foreign minister hoping to achieve when it comes to expanding the Abraham Accords under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu?
So it's a great question, Hamda, because Eli Cohen, the new minister, focus is on Africa. Cohen had a significant part in the ties between, it's not formal, completely formal yet, but with Israel and Sudan, which were part of the Abraham Accords. I mean, the ties between Israel and Sudan were his part, and he was visiting Sudan, if I'm not wrong, twice. So he's focusing on Africa. Now, the sides understand that the Saudis are not ready yet. They will not join Abraham Accords now. At least that's the assumption. So they will try to focus together on African countries which still do not have ties with Israel. And since the Negev summit, as you said, is going to happen in Morocco, which is, of course, in North Africa, so they will try to gather African countries coming to Morocco to the second Negev summit, which will happen, as you said, in March in Rabat in Africa, in Morocco.
And finally, the new Israeli foreign minister to speak to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov today. It'll be the first time an Israeli official has spoken to their Russian counterpart. Talk to us about what they hope to achieve in this conversation. We do know that Israel has had an interesting stance when it comes to the war in Ukraine, though they have provided the Ukrainians with extensive humanitarian aid. What can we expect out of this conversation?
So it's going to be a very sensitive conversation and a very sensitive topic, because Israel, since the beginning of the war, Israel is maneuvering between Ukraine and Russia. Israel do not want to be seen as too strongly in one side. I would say the public, of course, is supportive of Ukraine, but from so many interests, Israel wants to keep good ties with President Putin, with the Russian president. Yesterday, the new foreign minister, Eli Cohen, said that the best is not to talk about the Ukraine issue, but he already faces criticism from the U.S., even from Israeli supporters in the U.S., just because of saying that he shouldn't talk about the war in Ukraine. So today afternoon, Cohen is going to speak on the request, by the way, of the Russians. He's going to speak with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. I don't know to tell you what Cohen is going to say, what kind of position he's going to take, because again, it's very sensitive. And what Cohen said yesterday is that we do not have to talk about the war is actually, let's say, Netanyahu's policy to try to shut up and not to talk about this very sensitive issue from Israeli perspective. Let's say how we will come out from the conversation. I think it's going to happen today afternoon.